Hello everyone, this is my reaction to last Friday's Star Citizen Live distribution centers. This is not a summary, I only talk about things I find interesting.
Are these going to be just another copy-paste like we have seen with bunkers, or can we expect to see actual variety in the building designs?
Yes and no. So the main form, the main structure, that is going to look the same, but there are feathering assets around each DC to make them all unique, I suppose.
I take this as distribution centers will be pretty much copy and paste with some minor changes outside and maybe a different name on the building. I expected nothing else from CIG, to be honest. I guess it will be like bunkers, which are quote-unquote different, but pretty much all feel the same.
I think there's approximately 13-ish. Where are they going? Is it just planets? Is it planets and moons?
So in this initial release, it will just be planets.
So these are 13 split amongst Hurston and Microtech for 323.
Yeah.
Can you remember what they were?
Well, there's the hauling. There's all the various, what you might call the courier, like the box delivery missions. There's scope for delivery missions. Just internally, these distribution centers are so large, you can have delivery missions just inside them, like taking the cargo from, like, say, the storage room to the warehouse to the freight terminal to like a little base, like on the perimeters of the center.
Yeah, once again, Amazon Warehouse Employee Simulator. Are we getting bottles too to piss into them? Yeah, I don't know if those people are actually playing other games, fun games, games that are interesting.
Is it planned to have distribution centers connected by a road network with smaller outposts or settlements, possibly several kilometers away from in their surroundings?
Yeah, I don't see why not in the future to have roads. It was interesting, when I did the presentation at CitizenCon, yeah, got a big woo for roads, and I was kind of like, okay, didn't know this was a thing.
Of course, people are very interested in roads because CIG is talking about roads for at least 8 years by now. So far, nothing materialized. In addition, we have a lot of quote-unquote off-road vehicles that would get stuck even in San Francisco because they have almost no ground clearance. Yeah, roads would be very interesting.
What can you tell us about raids? What's known?
Great question. Well, what's known is we want them to be the end game, So you've done the story or what have you, you've explored your career as much as you want to, and then you can dip into these end game missions, as it were. And this is where you're going to find super rare loot or super high value items, and they're going to take place at DCs which are owned by big corporations or big brands or big factions. And yeah, we like you said before, it was they were the new UGFs, underground facilities, and we still have the idea of some of them, they do go underground, and that's where the raid takes place. So not only do you have to fight your way through the airspace of the DC, then realize it's too hot, so land, get your ground vehicles out and approach on foot. You've got to get into the thing and then down into the raid. So they're going to be difficult. They're going to be, expect you to be, A-game people going in. You have your squad all kitted out. Everyone has a role to play. When the resource network comes online, you're going to have to kind of work strategically, I can't really say long words, to try and get in, which is going to be great. And then, what happens when you're in there and reinforcements are getting called in, but you've disabled everything, so it's actually even harder for you to get out. Yeah, we want it to be tough, but we also want you to be rewarded for doing them as well. So that's kind of the general overview that we want.
I let this run uncut because it's pretty much obvious CIG doesn't have any plans yet how raids are supposed to work, what raids are supposed to be. What's really strange is those people have selected the questions before. How about preparing a bit more and don't look like you have no idea yet how RAIDs are supposed to work?
Don't do that.
I was gonna say, I want to be real clear. This is not a 2024 thing. Like anybody's, raids are not a 2024 thing.
Just think where we can get to when raids come online. And you think it's big on the ground now, just think of the networks you're going to have to go through to conquer these raids. So just bear that in the back of your mind when these do go out.
I already see my video, raids 4 years later.
PvE and PvP can meet in the same place. How are these things going to merge, not just in 323 and what we're doing for 323, but long term? Because obviously, I already know where this is going. All the systems in place are not going to be in place for 323. So talk to me about 323 and then we'll go long term.
Okay. So I think the first thing to bear in mind about distribution centers is they're very varied, So some of them have, some of them will welcome players, some of them won't, but they're also varied in terms of level of security. So some of them will have security at the lower end. If you imagine an extremely well fortified bunker, that's like the lowest level of security for this distribution center. For the highest level of security, you're talking something alongside a rest stop, that kind of level. Lots and lots of turrets, probably a green zone, missile turrets as well. Yeah, they're going to be about as well fortified as we can make them for 323.
1 week ago, we had an Inside Star Citizen about distribution centers, and CRG showed us all those things like bombs falling, like raids happening, like assassinations happening. And now it turns out it was all made up, not coming in 2024, very unlikely to come in 2025. Yeah, on the other hand, I hope this means that distribution centers are actually a good place for PvE players.
The friendly ones are going to be more towards the rest stop level of security.
So with green zones?
With green zones.
This means there will be friendly distribution centers with armistice zones. Why didn't CRG mention this when we had Inside Star Citizen about distribution centers like a week ago?
For 323, because we don't have the full law and order system
It's
that
a
we're working towards, some of these distribution centers will have a green zone.
Yep.
And that'll protect the players, until the law and order system continues to evolve. Players saw it in the Pyro playground and stuff. Some of these stations were supposed to have, faction-oriented NPC guards that are supposed to stop griefing and stuff. That's all part of this law and order system that's still being developed and still coming online.
I find it funny that CRG showed us an Inside Star Citizen a week ago about distribution centers with bombs falling, with massive raids and with assassinations, and now it turns out those are just concepts and we won't see this anytime soon.
Who's running a delivery mission, and at the same time you've got a group of people coming in to raid the place and steal a bunch of stuff. They all get caught up together in a whole big mess, and the hope is that it's a fun, exciting, and probably quite chaotic experience.
There will be safe, green distribution centers, hostile ones, and some are in the middle. This is perfectly fine, but why didn't you tell this to us in your Inside Star Citizen a week ago? CRG is always about action, fancy videos, showing things that might or might not come many years from now, but this leads to a lot of confusion. I am happy we are getting safe distribution centers and distribution centers that are hostile. So if you want to have some PvP action, you know where to go to. Let me know what you think in the comments below and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. I mean, even...
Attention. I have...
Okay, you wouldn't believe what just happened. I heard attention. Did I get a crime? I got a crime stat for this. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter. My Twitter account is Camural_SC.